This was breaking news today, and so we did want to start with this news, not out of Gaza, but oddly enough, out of the West Bank, where there is no Hamas. And so why is this happening in the West Bank? Well, we will have a read. Israeli forces kill 2 Palestinian children in occupied West Bank raid. Residents of the Jenin camp, which was raided, by the way, earlier this year, before October 7th, which has seen nightly raids since October 7th, say they were shocked at the scale of the attack. Al Jazeera reports 2 Palestinian boys were shot and killed by Israeli forces in Jenin, in the north of the occupied West Bank, the Palestinian Ministry of Health has said. There is video, by the way, that confirms this. We are not allowed to show that kind of stuff on YouTube, nor would we want to, but it is out there for those who want to seek it out. It's obviously horrible to watch, but this is documented, so this is a proven event, obviously. As talks to extend the truce between Israel and Hamas continued on Wednesday before a looming deadline, the Israeli army raided the Jenin refugee camp, causing widespread destruction and killing 4 Palestinians, including 2 children. Adam Samar Al-Ghul, 8, was shot in the head, and Basil Suleiman Abu Al-Wafa, 15, died after he was shot in the chest. The Israeli army forced residents of the Adam neighborhood to leave their homes at gunpoint and destroyed streets in the neighborhood, Palestinian news agency Wafa reported, citing security and local sources. The army also bombed a house using a drone, the report said. In a joint statement to Israeli media, the border police, Israeli army, and Shin Bet security agencies said the army had killed 2 people reportedly involved in armed resistance, including a key leader. They were named as Mohammed Zubeidi and Hussam Hanoun. The statement acknowledged that 2 more people were killed in clashes in the area. An Israeli army spokesperson did not immediately respond to Al Jazeera's request for further comments. According to the statement, 17 Palestinians were arrested in the raid. CCTV footage is what I talked about earlier, circulating online, shows a boy falling on a street in the camp after being hit by a bullet. Another video appears to show the other boy being hit on the street and calling for help as more bullets are fired on the ground around him. The older boy can be seen struggling on the ground in apparent agony for at least half a minute. Last slide. Al Jazeera's Charles Stratford, reporting from Jenin, said people were shocked at the scale of Israel's raid on the refugee camp, which has been subject to several Israeli incursions since the war began. They're describing it as the largest raid since October 7th, Stratford said, referring to the start of the most recent Israel-Hamas war. We spoke to the owner of a house that was destroyed. He said it was about 5 a.m. this morning when Israeli soldiers surrounded the house. He then became aware of potentially at least 1 Palestinian fighter, possibly 2, hiding in his home. What subsequently happened is that Palestinian fighters were killed as the house was destroyed. The Palestinian Red Crescent Society said Israeli forces blocked its medics from reaching the camp, despite the presence of injured persons who need help and whose life is threatened. Sorry, I lied. One more.
There's video of that as well.
There is, indeed. Israeli army raids have taken place, is the most important thing, on a daily basis across the West Bank since the war began. According to the Palestinian Prisoners Society and the Prisoners Affairs Authority, Israeli forces arrested 35 Palestinians in the occupied West Bank within the past 24 hours, including a 12-year-old child. The total number of people arrested is more than 3,325, according to the PPS. At least 242 Palestinians, including more than 50 children, have been killed in the West Bank since October 7th. More than 2,750 have been injured. So look at those numbers. 3,325 taken into custody, 242 dead, 2,750 injured. Daily raids, not in Gaza, but in the West Bank, where Hamas is not a presence. So you look at a story like this, just an absolutely awful story. And again, ask all of your Israeli supporting friends what this is really about. Once again, no Hamas in the West Bank. So what is this about? 2,750 injuries in 7 weeks, where the supposed enemy is not an entity? Try and square that.
Well, this is what Bassem Youssef said when he was on Piers Morgan. He said, okay, I condemn Hamas. I condemn Hamas. So let me tell you about a place where there's no Hamas, the West Bank. And so why do they conduct these operations there? This was their 9/11, meaning just like Dick Cheney and Rumsfeld and all the rest of the ghouls that went back to the Nixon administration used 9/11 as an opportunity to push every expansion of executive power they had wanted since Watergate. This was an opportunity for Netanyahu and his party to do what they've always wanted to do: eliminate the Palestinians from the West Bank and from Gaza. They want to relocate them at best. They want to create conditions that are so impossible for human life that it forces the international community to take them as refugees, particularly Egypt and other surrounding Arab nations. That's what I think the play is. And it's just a continuation of what Israeli policy has been from the beginning, to make it unlivable for the people there. Why are they putting settlements there? They were putting there's no Hamas. What are these settlements going into the West Bank for? We almost did a segment, I guess we're going to do a Friday, with Adam Friedland. And it was interesting because he was talking about how
it's a great segment.
He was raised with all the Zionist beliefs and assumptions. And then I guess he did the birthright. I guess he was on the birthright. And when he saw the West Bank, he said, I realized this was the wrong side of history.
Instantly,
when he saw
immediately,
how they were being treated there.
Yep. And we are going to do that segment on Friday. I'm really looking forward to that because I'm a big fan of the Adam Friedland Show, was a big fan of the Come Town podcast, and he and Nick Mullen, who very, very rarely share a serious word. That's pretty much a straight comedy podcast. We're both very good on that, and so that'll be something to look forward to. We're going to have that on Friday morning. But yeah, I mean, what you said about this being their 9/11, yeah, it is an excuse to take their fight to not just the quote-unquote enemy, but to anyone who harbors enemies, right? Anyone who harbors terrorists are not safe. You're either with us or you're with the terrorists. That's what George W. Bush said, meaning it doesn't matter if you are Al-Qaeda. If you are not with us, if you do not support the American Imperial Project post 9/11, we will consider you an enemy as if you were Al-Qaeda. And same, not exact same, but a similar logic here when it comes to military projects. But again, you can trace this project to its pre-October 7th days. Why are those settlements there in the first place?
Right. Well, this is all better to ask forgiveness than permission. They want to drive the Palestinians out of this land, incorporate it into greater Israel, and then let people make documentaries about the plight of the Palestinians afterwards.
Yes.
They want, and they explicitly state it, because they're always saying, well, should all Americans leave land? So right there, you're admitting you understand that Israel is a settler colonial project. And they're very frustrated, apparently. They're very angry that they don't get to genocide the Indians and then make Dances with Wolves movie about it later after they're all gone. Right? They feel this is very unfair to them, that they don't get to have a genocide.
Yeah, it's really frustrating that humanity has progressed a few centuries worth since you were able to get away with this stuff without anybody giving a shit. Not enough people give a shit. The people in power don't give a shit, so they're going to do it, but they're not going to do it with complete moral impunity that they want.
Right.
Please clap.